so the last group, some of them decided to spoil the trick. But I'm going to teach you a new trick. And last year when I taught kindergartners, they loved it. So I hope that you guys will like it too. And the last group liked it. But anytime that you hear me say class, class, you have to respond by saying
Yes, yes.
yes, yes. Tanner knew because somebody told him. So if I say class, class, you say
Yes, yes.
and then that means it's time to pay attention and focus. And that'll get us back on the right track. All right, this I think last week y'all started talking about adaptations in science. And last week you talked about plants. But this week we're starting to learn about animals and their adaptations. Who can raise their hand and tell me what an adaptation is? Chance, what's an adaptation?
A trait that helps a plant or animal.
It helps it do what? You're right. What does it help it do? Helps it survive. What's a trait? Give me some synonyms for the word trait, Tanner.
Survive.
An adaptation does help an animal survive, but what are some synonyms for trait? What are some words that are just like trait? Ross, what's one?
Feature.
Okay, a trait can be a feature. It can also be what, Donovan?
Characteristic.
It could be a characteristic. There's one more word that we use a lot in math. Do you know, Ralston?
Attribute.
An attribute. So all of those things are traits. And remember, adaptations are traits that help animals to do what? Survive, and survive means to
Stay alive.
stay alive. All right? So here's what we're going to do. We're going to do a think, pair, share. Has anybody ever done that before? No, the last group had not done one either. All right, so it's a 3-step process. We're going to think, then we're going to pair, and then we're going to share. So step number 1 is to think. So what do you think you do when you think? Do you have to talk to others? No, you just have to think to yourself for a few minutes. Here's what I want you to think about. I want you to think about an animal. It can be any animal that you want it to be. I want you to think about that animal in your head, and I want you to think about an adaptation that that animal might have. All right? So take a few minutes to think to yourself about an animal and an adaptation that that animal has. What's something that that animal has that helps it to survive? No hands yet. No hands yet. You're just thinking. So an animal and an adaptation. When you got it, give me a thumbs up. Some are still thinking. I think most everybody's thumbs are up. All right, step number 2 was to do what?
Pair.
To pair. All right, so usually you would do this in pairs of 2, but I'm going to let you guys work in your groups of 3. So I want you to talk with the people at your table, talk quietly in an inside voice, but talk to the people about the animal that you just thought of and share with them the adaptation that you think that animal has. So tell your people at your group your animal and that animal's adaptation. Go.
The lion it helps it survive. It eats a lot of animals by 5 or 6 days. Okay. So mine is a long neck. Yours is to eat. Mine is to fight. Because mine owns. So.
And then there's to get away
Class. I got it. Over there. All right, so we did our thinking. You just did your pairing. Now we need to share. All right, so who wants to raise their hand and share with me the animal and the adaptation that you just shared with your group? All right. Let's see. All right, Caleb.
I picked a dog.
Okay, a dog. And what adaptation might a dog have?
Well, it's a good pet.
Okay, it could be a good pet. What's something that a dog might have that may help it to survive?
Fur.
Okay, it may have fur, so that would keep it warm in the winter. Good job, Jenna. You know one?
A monkey.
A monkey. And what adaptation does a monkey have?
Yes, arms.
And what does the arms help it do?
Like if they're being chased, they could come by tree.
Okay. So that would help it to survive. All right, Dylan.
A snake.
All right, what adaptation might a snake have?
They have great camouflage for wood.
Oh, somebody just pointed out a key word. Would y'all hear that key word he said?
Camouflage.
Camouflage. And that's one of the words we added to our word wall. Is camouflage an adaptation?
Yes.
Yes. How is camouflage an adaptation, Tanner? Since you're wearing camouflage.
It's good. So the animals can hide from predators.
Yeah, camouflage helps animals to blend in with what's around them. And so then the predators can't get them and they can survive. They won't get eaten. All right, Donovan.
A cheetah.
All right, what does a cheetah do? What's its adaptation?
Its tail.
All right, what does tail help it do?
It helps it stay in balance.
Okay. The cheetah's tail might help it stay in balance. All right, those are some good ones, and we're going to talk about a few more in just a little bit. But first, I want to introduce you to some new words. We talked about trait, and we talked about survive, and we talked about adaptation. Does anybody remember what it means to reproduce? I think that's one y'all learned last week. Azaisha, what does it mean to reproduce?
It means to make new living things.
To make new living things. And what's the key thing to remember? Can they make any new living thing, or is it something specific? Anthony?
Same thing that we are.
It's got to be the same thing. So a monkey's going to make
A monkey.
a monkey. A dog is going to make a dog. Very good. So that's reproduce or puppy. Yeah, you're right. All right, so these are the new words I'm going to teach you. First new word is this one. I'm going to teach you some tricks. What's that word? Y'all can say it out loud. What is it?
Hibernate.
Hibernate. The last group thought that was hibernation. That's not hibernation. That's hibernate. All right? Who can tell me what you think hibernate means? Ross, what do you think hibernate means?
Sleep for a long period of time during the winter.
To sleep for a long period of time during the winter. He's exactly right. And a lot of animals hibernate. The way that you can remember the word hibernate is by its first letter. The first letter is H. So you can remember hibernate kind of means to hide. They hide and go into that deep sleep. And we're going to talk about some animals that do that. So you can remember hibernate, hide. And that'll help you remember that vocabulary when you're taking that CRCT. So we've got hibernate. So that's some ways, that's an adaptation that some animals use to survive. They have to hibernate. Another word, and this word rhymes with hibernate. Migrate. Who knows what it means to migrate? Chance, what do you think?
Go to one place like birds migrate to the. If it's cold in the north, they're going to the south.
He's right, and a lot of birds migrate. That's the main animal that does a lot of migration, but it means to go from one place to another. Sometimes birds migrate, like he said, because it may be cold, and they go somewhere else where it's warmer. Some animals migrate to another place because they're able to reproduce or make new things better in that new place. But the key thing you have to remember with migrate is, do they go to that one place and stay there forever? No, what do? What do they do, Tanner?
When they go to the south, when that gets cold, they go back to the north.
He's got it. They go back. So it's a round trip. Like if you got on an airplane and flew to Jamaica, you're not going to stay in Jamaica forever. You're going to get back on another airplane and come back. Animals do the same thing when they migrate. So the thing that you can remember with migrate is you can remember this first letter. Anybody know what my key word's going to be? Dylan, what do you think? So if we're migrating, we're moving to another place. So if we're hibernating, we're hiding. If we're migrating, we're moving. Got it? Got our two new words. and we'll review them as we look at some pictures in just a little bit. Here's a question. We know that plants and animals have adaptations. Do you think that we have adaptations? Give me a thumbs up if you think yes. Give me a thumbs down if you think no. Okay, so I think most everybody has yes. You're right, we have adaptations. Let me give you an example. Here's where you get to use your paper. Only use one side of it. I want everybody to pull up the hand that they write with. Put it out in front of you. Now I want you to turn it into a fist. And then you're going to take your thumb and you're going to tuck it inside. Okay? Don't pull that thumb out. It's got to stay inside. All right, here's your challenge. I want you to try and pick up your pencil out of your tray and write your name on that paper. Don't pull that thumb out and you can't use your other hand. You can't use your other hand, you can only use the one you write with.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, I can't use it.
I had to use it like this.
No thumbs.
I don't have a phone.
Got it. Yes. Oh.
That was hard. Now four thumbs out if we're done.
Yeah, I don't mind. Hey, can I draw a line that so I can split it? It's pretty cool. And when am I supposed to draw it? I don't know what.
All right, class.
Yes.
All right, but you can take your thumbs out and pick your pencils back in your tray. Leave your papers in front of you. Who can tell me what that experience was like? Was it hard? Was it easy? What do you think, Marhiah?
Hard.
It was hard. Why was it hard?
Because I can't.
What do you think, Dylan?
It's because you use your thumb to hold your pencil, and you use this hand to concentrate the pencil to write.
Yeah, we use our thumbs for a lot. We use our thumbs a lot when we're picking up things. And you just realized it was super difficult to pick up that pencil. Now, some of you have your names on your paper, but I promise you it's not as neat as I've seen you write your names before. So you may have gotten your name, but it took you a long time, and it's not as good as it usually is. So thumbs are an adaptation for us. They help us survive. Could you survive at school if you couldn't pick up a pencil and write your name?
No.
No, you probably wouldn't be here very long.
I probably use my teeth.
It probably wouldn't work. So thumbs help us to survive. Something else that I was thinking about is I love my cell phone. And my iPhone, I use it a lot. And everything I do on that phone is done with my thumb. So if I didn't have a thumb, I couldn't probably operate my cell phone. And then I probably wouldn't survive. I probably couldn't do life without that cell phone.
You can use your nose.
I could probably use my nose, but that would probably be super difficult.
Yeah.
So we have adaptations just like animals and plants have adaptations as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to look through some pictures on the screen of some different animals, and you're going to get to figure out and see if you can think what adaptations these animals have. Some of these pictures I took, and some of these pictures I'm in, so you might recognize me. So will you turn that on for me, please? Alright, our first animal is... Raise your hand if you can tell me what that animal is. Kaylin. That's a polar bear. What are some adaptations? I can think of a few. What are some adaptations that this polar bear has? Grayson, what's one?
It has its fur
Alright, it has its fur. How does that fur help that polar bear to survive?
to blend in and catch its prey.
Okay. He's using a word that we just talked about, but he's not saying it. What word is he talking about? Camouflage. That polar bear is white, and so is that snow, so he can camouflage, and then when somebody's trying to eat him, they may not see him. So his fur helps him to camouflage, which is absolutely an adaptation. All right, Azacia, do you know another one?
It's claws.
It does have claws. You can't really see it in the picture, but polar bears do have claws. And claws probably help it to eat their food. Very good. Do you know another one, Anthony?
Their paws are very thick and furry, so they walk on the snow. It's very thick down.
Very good. So that body part helps it to survive in that wintry environment. All right, let's look at another animal. Y'all know who that is? All right, both of these things have adaptations, but we're not going to focus on this one. We're going to focus on this one. Has anybody, I don't think anybody in our last group had been, has anybody ever been to Pine Mountain? To the animal park there? No, a few of y'all? This is where this was taken. This is actually a baby giraffe. I know that's probably hard to believe, but baby giraffes are really tall. So look at that giraffe. What are some adaptations that giraffe might have, Melissa?
It's long neck.
Its long neck, and how can that long neck help it to survive?
To reach its food in the trees.
To reach its food in the trees. Very good. Anything else, Jenna?
His ears.
All right, what did his ears help him do?
To hear things.
You're right, he's got pretty big ears, bigger than most of us have, and so he can hear if things are coming up on him. Anything else, Grayson?
His skin color
All right, what about his skin cover? How does that help him?
to camouflage into like the dirt in Africa.
Okay, so if this giraffe's in Africa, he could be camouflaged, so he wouldn't be as easy to see. All right, so those are some adaptations for the giraffe. The last group also talked about the little horns on top. It may help him. I don't think they're as pointy as some animals are, but it could help him if he was fighting, because a lot of giraffes do fight with that long neck. Gracie, do you have another one? Okay. Yeah, and giraffes, I will tell you, giraffes have very long tongues too. I got to feed the giraffe, and they have super long tongues, which are probably very helpful when they're up in the trees. All right, let's look at another animal. This is one of my. This is a Mr. Bryan photography here. This was also taken near Pine Mountain at Callaway Gardens. This is a what, Marissa?
Butterfly.
This is a butterfly. What are some of the adaptations that a butterfly might have, Ross?
Its wings.
All right, what do its wings help it do?
Sometimes, like, it can look like another animal.
Okay, and he's hitting on another word that we just put on the word wall. Do you know what that's called? When an animal can look like another animal? It's on the bottom. Say it again.
Mimicry.
Mimicry. So if an animal can mimic or look like something else, then that could help it to survive. So camouflage and mimicry, probably that butterfly could use both. Good job, Ross. Marhia, what's another adaptation?
Its wings. They can help it camouflage.
Okay, yeah, it could be camouflage. His wings also help him to do what, Dylan?
The wings also help them fly.
Yeah, that's going to help that butterfly get around. So that's for sure an adaptation. Chance, did you have another one? Or did we take yours?
Oh, I forgot.
Okay. This is Macy. Macy, do you have one?
Some of them have like spots that look like eyes, and it helps them survive where other animals can't.
You're right. Some of them have spots that do make it look like eyes. Kind of going back to that mimicry. All right, so there's a butterfly. Let's look at another animal.
Whoa!
This is another Mr. Bryan photography for you. Anybody know what that animal is? What do you think, Anthony?
It's a type of cow. I knew that.
Starts with an O. 2 letters. What do you think, Donovan?
Ox.
It's an ox. It's an ox. What are some of the adaptations that ox has? Jenna?
Horns.
All right, what do those horns help it do, you think?
Like when they fight.
So if it had to fight, it would have those horns, and those are some very large horns. So that animal's probably going to win in any fight. All right, Chance, what do you think?
It can still camouflage with the dirt.
Okay, it might can camouflage because it's got that brown skin. This animal has a very large body part in the front. What do you think, Macy?
The nose can help it smell things that are coming together.
Yeah, he's got a bigger nose than most other animals, so that nose is an adaptation that would help him to survive because he could smell things that were coming near him. All right, let's look at another one. What are these, Grayson?
Geese.
These are geese. These, one of their adaptations is one that we just learned about. Think real hard. These geese do something that we just talked about. What do you think, Marhaya?
Migrate.
They migrate. Very good. They migrate. So they do, what does that mean? What does it mean to migrate, Kaylin? They move to another place. Do they stay in that place? No, they
turn back around when
they come back after the weather changes or after a certain season is up. They also have what, Ross?
The claws on their feet so they can grip their food.
Yeah, they might have claws. And then they also have pretty large wings that it's probably going to help them fly better when they are migrating. All right, let's look at another animal. Kind of similar. What's this, Caleb, and what adaptation might it have?
A duck.
It is a duck. Look towards the bottom. This one's got a special adaptation.
Feet.
What about its feet? Do you know what we call those feet? What kind of feet they are? All right, call on a friend for help. Call on somebody that's got their hand raised to help you out.
Ross.
Well,
They have webbed feet. What do you think webbed feet help ducks do, Tanner?
swim.
It helps them to swim. Ducks do a lot of swimming, and so it helps them to swim. Kind of like if you wore flippers in the pool, it would help you swim faster. Their feet are kind of like that too. And they also have, they could probably also camouflage. I think the last group said that with their feathers. But I think their main adaptation would be their feet. That helps them to do a lot of things that help them survive. All right, here comes another one.
Oh.
I did not take this picture. I wish I did because it's a really good picture. Chance, what is this animal and what's one of its adaptations?
A crab and its claws.
All right, what do its claws help it do?
Fight.
All right, so if it had to fight, it could do that. It's also got some other things that help it. Anthony, what do you think? All right, it's got feet that help it to run fast. Crabs do move really fast. If you've ever seen them on the beach, they go really fast, which would ultimately help them survive. All right, let's talk about its covering on its body. What do you think it's going to help it do, Dylan?
It's gonna end up blending up with the same, like a ghost crab I see one day.
Okay.
And it blended in so well I couldn't even see it.
It could blend into the
I
sand.
was like a safe.
But what do you notice about his shell? Is it thin? Is it, what do you think, Gracie?
It's thick to help it survive.
Yeah, he's got a thick shell that's going to help him not be attacked by other creatures. And also, this animal lives in the ocean, so it's probably going to run into lots of things, and that shell will protect it. All right, here's another animal. This animal is actually in the middle of one of the adaptations that we talked about today. What is the animal, and what do you think it's currently doing in this picture, Anijah?
It's hibernating.
It is hibernating. Do you know what that animal is?
A chipmunk or a squirrel?
It is a chipmunk. Very good. And it is currently hibernating. How do you know by this picture that that animal is hibernating? What are some clues that tell you that animal is hibernating, Caleb?
It is sleeping.
It's sleeping, and when you hibernate, you go into a deep sleep. So that chipmunk is currently hibernating. And that's an adaptation that helps him to survive. Very good. Y'all are so smart. All right, here comes another animal. This is a what, Ralston?
A bear.
It is a bear. Do you know what kind of bear? What color is it?
Well, I know it's black.
It is black, so it's a
Black bear.
black bear. Very good. What are some adaptations that this bear has? Chance.
Claws so it can get the honey out of beehives.
Okay, it might use its claws, and you can see its claws right here. It's got super thick claws. And it may help it get honey out of a beehive. Or, where is he currently at, Gracie?
On a tree.
He's in a tree. What are some things that that bear could do in that tree to help him survive?
Climb.
All right, he could climb. Who is he probably going to be climbing away from? You're right. Or what do we call them when we talk about animals? Have y'all learned that word? Somebody used it earlier. What do we call it, Tanner? Predators. That he could run away from predators and climb up that tree. He could also probably do what in that tree? He could use his claws to do something else. What do you think, Jenna?
Climb.
He could climb, but he could also probably eat while he's in the tree. He could eat with those claws if he needed to. So there's the black bear. Right. Next is. All right. This is a what? And what do you think the adaptation is, Donovan?
A camel and his hump.
All right. What do you think? What do you think that hump helps that camel to do?
If someone wants to get on it, someone can set up that hump.
Okay, somebody could sit on that hump if they wanted to ride that camel. But that hump, you're right, that is the adaptation that's important, but it serves a very special purpose. Do you know what it is, Anthony? What is it?
It stores water.
A lot of people do think that it stores water. It actually stores fat, which eventually turns into water. Look at this picture and think about where camels probably live. Why is that camel going to need fat that could help it get energy? Azasha?
Because it's in the desert, and deserts are very dry.
It lives in the desert, and deserts are very dry. So that camel's going to need all of the energy it can get, and that hump helps it to do so. All right, next picture is... This one's got some cool adaptations. I didn't know some of these until I researched. This is a what, Tanner? It is an owl. What are some adaptations that an owl might have, Marhaya?
It's eyes.
All right. What do you think? What do you think is eyes? What do you think about how are those eyes going to help?
Because in the night, it can see animals.
Okay, so the eyes might help it see at night. Does anybody know anything about the neck of an owl? Jenna, what is it? Do you know what's special about an owl's neck? It does something special that I don't think any other animal's neck will do. You want to call on a friend for some help? Call on somebody who's got their hand up. All right, Macy, do you know what's special about an owl's neck? It can turn all the way around. How can that be helpful, Gracie? How can that help that animal to survive?
If he ever does something, like if it starts chasing him, he can turn around to see.
You're absolutely right. Very good. Does anybody know anything special about owl feathers? I didn't know this until I started researching it, but there's something special with owl feathers. Do you know, Anthony?
It blends in the light.
Okay, it might help them blend in, but there's something about the sound of their feathers when they move. Chance, do you know? They're silent, so they don't make any noise. How is that going to help that owl if he has silent feathers? Grayson?
To get away from predators without them finding them.
Yeah, so he can fly away from predators, and then they can't find him. All right, so there's the owl. He's also got some claws and a sharp beak that's probably going to help him survive too. All right, we have a couple more pictures. Who's this? I know this picture is really cool. It looks like there's no glass there, but there really is glass. I was not right up next to a panda. Pandas have some interesting adaptations too, and I learned some new ones when I started looking into pandas. Think about the things pandas eat, and you can see what he's eating in the picture, and that may help you think about some of the adaptations that it has. Anijah?
It eats bamboo.
It does eat bamboo. What do you think you probably need to have to eat bamboo?
You need to have.
What about your mouth? What needs to happen with your mouth? Probably has to be what?
It has to be big.
All right, it probably has to be big. But do you think that bamboo's easy to eat?
No.
No, it's super tough. It's kind of like wood. So you probably have to have a strong jaw, which pandas have. So pandas have a strong jaw. They also have something else that was really interesting. They have a sixth toe. So most animals, and we have 5 toes, pandas have a sixth toe. How do you think that sixth toe will help that panda? Chance, what do you think? All right, it could help it balance. Think about it, the bamboo. What do you think, Donovan?
Helps it climb.
It could help it climb. But think about bamboo. How is that sixth toe going to help that panda when it's eating bamboo, Jenna?
Like grab it.
It's going to help it grab. Remember earlier when it was hard for you to grab your pencil without any thumbs? That panda basically has a thumb, and it can hold that bamboo so that it can eat it. All right, so there's a panda. Next we have, this is a what, Marhaya? And what's one of its adaptations?
It's beak and claws.
All right, it's got beak and claws that would probably be good for catching big animals. Ross, what else?
Well, it's actually a type of raptor and the owl was.
Okay. Caleb?
The claws can help it get a grip like on a tree branch.
Okay, it'll help it grip. Gracie?
It's aimed like when it flies down to catch its food, it can aim really good to go straight down.
Okay. What else is Aisha?
Its wings.
All right, it's got super strong wings, and those wings are pretty big, kind of like the geese, like their wings were earlier. So it's got strong wings that are going to help it fly long distances if that eagle needs to do so. All right, next is, we're getting close to the end, I know. I don't think I used this example earlier. This is a specific, it's okay. This is a specific type of whale. Anybody know what kind of whale this is? Tanner? Look at its color.
A white.
Not white. Ross?
A blue whale.
Not blue. You're kind of close. Chance?
Killer whale.
Not killer. Think about its color. Marissa? Not black. The picture may be hard to tell, but it's actually a gray whale. And this animal is one that migrates as well. So not just birds migrate, but whales migrate too, because they may live in a part of the ocean that's cold, and if they need to go to another part of the ocean where it's warmer during the winter, then they may migrate to a new place to do so.